Okay, first thing first, you can go to our course Blackboard. And I added one more thing, like C# reference. So if you go there, this is like C# beginner's tutorial book that I looked at like long time ago. I don't think it's a good book, but it will give you some reference. Okay, and then quite honestly, if you just Google it, you will get tons of good information. So I don't think it's really necessary for you to have this book, but like I once like scanned some of them, so why not sharing with you guys? So if you look at it, this one has like first 7 chapters, which is basic, like fundamental information about C#. Okay, so time to time, because it's not really like a true programming course. It's not like I'm going to focus a lot on C#, but I'll try my best to explain things about C# and C# like syntax. But at the same time, you can always look at this reference and then get some information, necessary information. Okay? So some of them are interesting and some of them are okay. Like this one, language fundamentals, kind of good reference you can read before you start C# programming. And then it will always give you some fundamental like information. So you can definitely take a look at it at your leisure. All right. Schedule. Week number 2, we'll look at that Unity interface and spinning globe. So we went through this before, last Tuesday. So maybe actually I'll start with globe, spinning globe, and then come back here if necessary. But we actually talked about pretty much everything here except rigid body. So I'm going to go over spinning globe first and then come back here. Okay, so now we're going to look at how to create this spinning globe again. So it should be reviewed for everyone. Okay. But at the same time, I'll try to bring out a little more concept about scripting. So now what I want you to do, I want you to open Unity Hub. And create new project. So project, new. This one I'm going to use 3D. I'll probably use test. And I'm going to save it on the desktop somewhere. Okay. And create. Okay. So, my first thing first, just little things. Again, this is not something you have to do, but again, but here, as you can see on the top, in my case, I named my file or project as test. So I see test dash sample scene dash PC Mac Linux standalone Unity 2019 2.2, okay, educational version. So here, it's totally up to you. Some people do go to File and Save, okay, this scene as, okay. You can do like main, and save. Okay. So sometimes people do this. Again, not all the time, but some people likes to use this naming convention main, because if you are going to end up many different scenes, okay, for your game, okay, if you share your project with other people, okay, usually you will tell that person, oh, this is a starting point, so please open this scene. But sometimes this is kind of unwritten rule. Okay? Sometimes we use main as a starting point. So we usually, whenever we open someone else's project or any project, we try to look at main.unity, okay, main scene. Okay? And then in terms of bookkeeping, yes, you can put this one inside of scenes folder. So now inside of scenes folder, I have main and sample scenes. Sample scene doesn't have anything, but I have this main now. Okay. So because I saved this one as main, now on the top it says test main. Okay. So this line is not that highly critical, but again, it will give you the information about what types of file you are dealing with. Okay. So if I just double click on sample scenes now, it looks the same, but here on the top, I see test sample scene, meaning I am actually using sample scene. Okay. So I'll go back to the main scene. Okay. And now I'll look at my directional light. Okay. So it should be kind of review for you. This is directional light. I have this main camera, and then there's scene view and game view. Okay. So now, let me bring a sphere. Okay. So I'm going to go to game object. I'm going to go to 3D object. Okay. I'm going to bring sphere. Okay. And then maybe this one appears pretty small, so I'm going to change its scale to maybe 5, 5, 5. Okay. And again, now you have 3 game objects in your game world, so you can possibly take a look at relationship among those 3 game objects. So it's kind of hard to see now, but when you click directional light, okay, obviously this directional light creates some lighting, okay, on this sphere. So you can actually see this change. Well, not that much actually in the game view, okay, but what you are going to see if you click game, okay, this is what you see now. I'm going to change its position, okay, and go to game. Okay. Well, it looks pretty much the same. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll actually change the layout to 2x3 and try to play with this. And this is turn off light. Okay. And seems like, okay, I'll try to play with this rotation a little bit. So you see now, okay, what's happening here is my light source is really, really intense. So that's why even though I change its distance, it basically appears the same. But you will see its change if you rotate your light source. Okay. So as you can see, now basically you are dealing with this relationship between your game object and your directional light. Okay. So you see these changes. And then same thing with your main camera. This is my main camera. I can do the same thing, like for this position. Okay. You see, now I'm changing its y coordinate. So you can see, oh, my game object actually doesn't move at all, but it appears to be moving inside a frame because I am changing the position of my camera. So sometimes it's important, not at this point, but later on, if you want to create 3D game, you have to think about, where I need to place my camera. Usually for 3D game, even for 2D scroller game or platformer game, you have to make a script that make your camera follow your character. Okay, so that whenever your character moves, you actually see the different scenes. Anyways, this is something we did before, and now, let's look at the texture. Let's try to put some texture on this sphere. Okay, it's relatively easy. Okay, so I'm going to go to Google and I'll get some texture. Okay, for now, maybe I can do Mars texture. So last time I just used the globe Earth, but now I'm going to do different texture. This is not perfect, but it will create some different types of sphere. So I'm going to download it. Oh, $10. Oops. So I just downloaded it in the lower quality, and I want to drag it to my SS folder. So now I have this one right over here. Now it's simple. You can apply this texture on your object by dragging this one to here. So a lot of times we can drag and drop in Unity. So you can do this, or try to see what's going to happen. Like if you drag this one into this sphere in hierarchy window, it does the same thing basically. Okay. We are adding this texture into this game object. So what I just did, you can drag this image to your sphere in your scene directly. Okay, that's one way to do. Or you can drag this one into your game object in hierarchy window. Okay, it basically does the same thing. Okay. So now I have this guy. Okay. So now maybe something we can try. We can try game object, 3D object, and something else like cube. So for sphere, I'm going to select sphere, then I'm going to deselect this sphere under inspector window. Okay. So basically I'm turning off my game object. My game object is still there, okay, but sometimes when you design your game, you probably need to use one game object, okay? Or you want to kind of switch out to something else, but you don't want to erase it because you might use it again. In that case, you can simply go to inspector window and turn it off by deselect this box. Okay. Now I have cube. Okay. I'm going to make this one bigger. Oh, I'm using sphere. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go to cube, make it bigger. Okay. And for cube, let's try what's going to happen if you do this. Okay. It kind of does the same thing at this point because we didn't say it's really a cube. Okay, so when you apply texture in Unity, sometimes you have to specify your game object. So for now, if you just drag your image into the cube, it will just cover a whole the area of your game object. All right, and now let's think about another thing. Okay. I'm going to turn this off, okay. And I'll go to default, and I'll go to SS Store. So this is SS Store. Okay. I'm going to do free 3D something. Okay. And I do have this 3 free modular kit. Okay. So now instead of the sphere or some other things, okay, we can possibly bring something else. Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do, but let's see, snowman free. Okay, I'll select this. This is free, and I'll download it. And you have to log in this case. So I'm downloading this free asset. It's 41.9 megabytes. When you decide to download something from SS Store, okay, you can usually go to that SS Store and type things you like to use, things you like to find. Okay, in this case, free 3D, and then just download it. And then usually what's going to happen is it will download a package. Okay, and then once downloading is done, this package will be automatically expanded and can be imported in your Unity project. So now downloading is done. Now it's asking me whether to import or not. So I'm going to import. Then this is something you will see. Okay, import Unity package. As default, everything's selected. You can simply just import. Then now, under my SS folder, I'm going to have this these new folders, okay, with that particular 3D models. Okay. And then Unity tracks down your purchase list. So here it said you purchased this item on September 5th, 2019. So later on, you can go to your Unity profile page, and you can actually see what types of assets you downloaded. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my scene. Okay. And now I'm going to look at where my 3D model is. So here's terrain, and then angry mesh. Okay, snowman. So I probably have, there's prefab. We're going to talk about this later, but prefab is a kind of concept that we're using in Unity. Okay. This is something, game object, that contains all these components. So you can actually create this prefab. Okay. Once you like to store some sort of game object with a component built by you. Okay. So we're going to get that concept later. Okay. But that's what it is. So for now, I'll go to prefab, and then look at one of this, okay, and then drag it here. So maybe I'll just make it a little bigger. 3, 3, and 3. Okay, this is what I have. And then I'm going to play it. Oh, I'm looking at the back of this snowman. Okay. So maybe I'll rotate this guy. Oop. Okay. 180. Okay, so now I'll look at the face of my snowman. Okay. Because my camera is right over here. So if I want to see the face of the snowman, maybe I can do this. Okay. So I'm looking at my snowman.
Is there a key or a way to change rotation with the mouse? You have to do that.
Rotation-wise, I don't know. Maybe there might be the shortcut, but I usually just use mouse. So if you can put your mouse over this Y, and then if you move your mouse left and right, you can change it. And E?
You hit E, it'll turn it up. You can grab the lines.
Okay, so now I do have this different 3D object. Okay. And now, let's try to look at what other things we can do. Okay. So, previously what we talked about, okay, I'm going to turn this off for now and bring my sphere back again. Okay. I have this sphere. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a script. Okay. So I'm going to add component, and I will go to new script. Okay, go to new script. Doesn't allow me to select this. Okay, new script, and you can name this script whatever you want, as long as you remember what it does. Okay, so I'll just have rotate OBJ or something like that, and create and add. Yeah, I think because of this guy, it has a little issue, but new script. Okay, now I have this rotate OBJ, and now double click on your script file and it will open Visual Studio so that you can do something with it. And obviously you need to sign in again for Visual Studio, and then I have this guy right over here, and let's take a look at this. Okay, so here, this is something we're going to talk about over and over again. Okay, but let's try to think about like what these things does. Okay, so it said whenever you create new script in Unity, okay, this is something you will see. Okay, on top 3 line, you will see this using system.collections, using system.collections.generic, and using Unity engine. And then typical syntax for C# is you will say public class, name of your script, and it will say mono behavior, and then there's curly braces open and close, and there's going to be 2 functions, okay, void start and void update. And it says start is called before the first frame update, and update is called once per frame. So let's see what it really means. Okay, so one thing we can, one thing I want you to do, maybe not right now, but at your leisure this weekend. Okay, you can go to this scripting and this link right over here, okay, it will give you good information about creating and using script. Okay, and then one thing, and then it has actually all the explanation what model behavior means, and then what start and what update function does. Okay, and then one thing I want to do now is this. Okay, if you look at this here, it's a debug.log. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Okay, or you can type it. Okay, and paste it right over here. Okay. Now I have debug.log, parenthesis open, quotation mark, I'm alive, okay, something like this. Okay. So debug.log is, it will print out this log, okay, in console window. Okay. You will see what it does in a moment. I'm going to save this. Okay. I'm going to save this, and now I'm going to play this. So here now, if you look at left bottom corner, it said I am alive. Okay. And then if you click this console, it will say I am alive, Unity engine.debug.log object. Okay. So debug.log is something we will use a lot. It basically allows us to print out some information, okay, in your console window. Okay. So now, let's do this. I'm going to cut this and paste it in update. So who has some background in computer programming? Okay. Can you tell me the difference between debug.log inside of start function and update function?
If it's inside the start function, it's going to do the start function. If it's inside the update, it's going to constantly fix the constant.
Okay.
Specifically, does it every frame?
Frame?
Yeah, every frame that the game updates, that it renders, it will try to post that message in debug log.
Okay, okay, kind of, yes, yes. And just one more person? Kind of simpler language?
I mean, essentially, I guess there's, I don't know how many Unity runs in, but either 30 or 60 frames in a second. So that means either 30 or 60 times per second, the log is going to post I am alive. So in a minute, you're going to have hundreds of that, and it also will probably crash it.
So yes, here I actually have that explanation right over here. Okay, you can see this, and then update function is the place to put code that will handle the frame update for the game object. This basically means whatever you have inside of that update function, it gets called, meaning it gets executed once in every single frame. Okay? And then if you put something in the update, it will get executed only once before your program, really go into the frame. Okay? So main difference is, okay, previously when you play this, it will give you I'm alive here and here only once, because it only gets executed once, and that's it. Okay? We're not going to go back to that update function, and we will not do this ever again, okay, in this game. But now I'm putting this one right over here, debug log inside of update. So I'm going to save this. Okay. And now I'm going to play this. Okay, now it said I'm alive. It looks exactly the same, right? But if you actually go to console, okay, as you can see, it actually print out this I'm alive continuously until, okay, this program gets terminated. Okay. So this is something we're going to talk about like next week. So sometimes, okay, you need to do something once for your program. Let's say if you want to initiate something, okay, you only want to do that once. So you want to put your code in start function, okay? But sometimes you might want to do that thing over and over again. Then you put that in update function. Like for instance, if you want to create simple input, keyboard input system, okay? That keyboard input system must be inserted in update function, because you basically have to wait for your keyboard input on every single frame. Okay? So that's like a main difference. We're going to talk about that again later, but probably it's kind of good for you to read this information to try to understand what they are. Okay? And now, okay, I'm going to go back. So what we really want to do is we want to rotate this thing, right? So to do that, again, we kind of talked about this last Tuesday. Okay, I use it what? Transform.rotate. Okay, or even if you don't even know what that is, I'll say Unity rotate object, and you'll probably get something. Oops. It's at transform.rotate. Okay, so you will get that. So sometimes you will get this from manual. Okay, this is from manual. Okay, then sometimes you get this from script. So this is scripting API. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, it looks like this scripting API kind of give me a little simpler stuff. So I will actually copy this. I'll copy this and paste it here. I do not know what they do. Well, actually I know, but I'll pretend I don't know. I just copied it and pasted it. And save it. So basically what I did, I Google rotate object, and then I found this scripting API, transform.rotate. I went there, and I simply copied these 4 lines inside of update function, paste it in my script. Okay. And now I'm going to save it. It actually has this comment: rotate the object around its local x-axis at 1 degree per second. Okay. This one also rotate around the word's y-axis. So let's see what it really does. Okay. So I saved it and play. Kind of slow. Okay. And now I will actually change my position on my main camera, because I really cannot see my spear. So now it's probably better, and I'll play this. So you can kind of see it's slowly rotating. So now I'll go back to my code. Okay. So now this is a trial and error. Okay. Again, don't be afraid even if you don't know what they do. Okay, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'll try to just like play with this this code. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to comment this out, meaning I'm going to put 2 slashes in front of this. Okay. So now this one is treated as my comment. So there is actually only one line that will get executed. This one. Okay. So it said, rotate the object around its local x-axis at 1 degree per second. Okay. So now I'll save this. When I play this, it's really, really slow. It does something, okay, but it's really slow. It actually rotated on the x-axis. Okay. So now I'm going to guess. Okay. This vector 3 dot right multiplied by time dot delta time. I don't know what this is, but one thing I can guess is this is some numeric value. Okay. So, or it said, oh, it will make my thing rotate around x-axis 1 degree per second. So I'm going to make my guess. Okay. My guess would be, actually, can I make it bigger? Oops, too big. Okay, so my guess is, okay, this one is probably about like which axis we're going to move this thing. Okay, and this one would be time dot delta time. So it's some like numeric value because it has time. So I'm going to multiply. So and then this is at 1 degree per second. So I'm going to say multiply by 10. And let's see what's going to happen. Okay. So it said 1 degree per second. So I basically multiply that by 10. And I'm expecting to see faster rotation because now it should rotate up my object by 10 degree. Okay. So I'm going to save this and play. So now it rotates my thing a little faster. And now I'm going to actually even do like 30. And actually, I don't remember whether I saved it or not. I'll save this. Okay. So 30 should be now faster. Okay. 90. Then a lot faster. So a lot faster now. And then I'm going to say, instead of right, I'll say left. Okay. And then good thing about this compiler or editor, okay, vector 3 is something in like this is taken by Unity. But when you put vector 3 dot, it will actually bring up things you can use. Okay. So I'm going to say left, and then see what's going to happen. So now it actually rotates in the other direction. And then let's take a look at this one. I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to look at this one. And now rotate around the word's y-axis. Okay. I don't know what that is, but let's see vector3.up time dot delta time. It says one more parameter, space dot word. But here, I'm assuming that this is it will rotate in like 1 degree at a time. So I'm going to make it like a 10 degree at a time so that I can see this change. So I'm going to save this and play. Oops. So now it moves, okay, on the y-axis, and now, okay, we can look at actually this one now. I'm going to turn my sphere off. Okay. I'm going to go to my snowman. Okay. Okay. And then now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do add component. Okay. And now I'm going to actually, instead of new script, I'm going to select script. Okay. Scripts allow us to add an existing script inside of your assets folder. Because we created that rotate obj, okay, we can actually recycle it, use that thing again. Okay. So I'm going to click script, and now I have this rotate obj. So I'll just connect it. Connect this one to this snowman. And now I'm going to play. So now it basically does the same thing. Okay. It will rotate my snowman. Okay. So basically we just talked about that, how to create like spinning object. Okay. And what I mentioned, to get higher score, try to make your assignment like kind of differentiated from other people's work, because I'm literally giving you like this code and everything. So try to think about what you can do a little more. Okay? I mean, simplest thing could be you can add multiple objects instead of one. Okay? Another thing is you can possibly add some like background music, or even here. Okay, my main camera is here. So maybe I can play with game object, 3D object, plane, okay, and I'm going to make this plane bigger. Oops, too big. Okay, and then here I need like a texture too, so I'm going to put little texture on the plane. Okay, and then now I'm going to play this. Yeah, just like this, just one little thing. I mean, so try to think about how you can possibly differentiate your assignment from other people's work. So basically, I had to look at like literally 30 spinning objects. Okay, so I'll probably end up seeing kind of similar sphere, like Earth spinning or Mars spinning, all same thing over and over again. So obviously, if you want to make kind of better impression, you can try to do something a little crazy, okay, or something just more than other people, just like this. I mean, we didn't talk about that like plane, but you probably kind of can guess now. Oh, I can go to game object. I can possibly use cylinder. Maybe you can like get the cylinder and then get the texture of like a Coca-Cola or something. Then obviously it will be different compared to other kind of sphere or earth or globe. Okay, so try to think about something unique. Okay. All right, any question about spinning object? No? Yes?
Is there a way to make objects rotate around?
Yes, yes. But try to Google it and find out, okay? So what I usually do is, once I collect your work, I'll probably select my couple or 3 or 4. And some people actually think about some like crazy good stuff. And then I'll share with you guys and then try to point out, oh, this person used this particular technique or particular code. This is how you can do the same thing. Okay? Any other question? And then like you can actually try to figure out, if you cannot figure that out, you can email me like Saturday. Okay? I think due is Sunday midnight. So if you have questions, please email me Saturday, not like Sunday 11 p.m. Okay? Yes?
Will you post the video on the platform?
It's already on there. Have you ever watched any video tutorial?
I watched that 2.4.
You watched it?
Yeah.
Then you should know this, right?
Well, that one, that's what I'm talking about.
No, I talked about this stuff. Yeah. Anything else? Because I have to kind of drive to Merton Hall now, so I'm going to stop here. And then I'm going to post this video on YouTube. And if you have any question, again, let me know and email me, and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. All right, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.